Good morning.
Hey,
Good
how's it
morning.
going?
We're doing another one of these by popular demand. Oh, Luke's already here. Oh, hi, Luke.
Hello.
The party's arrived. We can just go ahead and end now, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
Maybe
always
he was
so
beat up.
excited.
Luke's already here.
Yeah.
The people that weren't part of this last time, do you want to introduce yourselves? And then Marina and Shannon can introduce themselves because the people mostly already know them.
Should we do it at the same time, Mark?
Yeah, let's just make it happen. I'm excited
Yeah.
actually to be here. I was like, as big of a fan I have been for years. This is the first thing we're actually doing together. I saw your name on the agenda and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna become like a fangirl over here. I'm so excited.
No, I felt the same. I saw your name. I was like, Mark, yes.
You can go first though.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Always a gentleman. So hi, everyone. I'm Carola, also known as From Carola on socials. And I love all things stationery, all things fountain pens. I paint with fountain pen inks. And I have a YouTube channel where I share my process and other fun stationery things. I also stream live on Twitch twice a week. And that's me.
Awesome. I'm Mark. I go by Marker Pages. Previously Menhu Bullet. I've changed that. It's been over a year now, but just in case people may or may not know me from that, primarily bullet journaling, but probably over the past 2.5 years have been, pun intended, dipping into fountain pens a lot more and have accumulated quite the collection. I just love the beauty of them. I love the versatility of them. So it's been really cool to be able to like start in bullet journaling using one notebook and one pen, and then like exploring into like the beautifulness stationery store that is behind me of inks and pens and everything else. So excited to be here and chat with you all today.
You can go ahead, Marina.
All right. Hi, I'm Marina. I'm here always. So you might know me. If you don't know me, I'm Studio Aquamarina on YouTube, that is, and Instagram. And I make watercolor paint, also ceramics.
Ooh.
So yeah.
And I'm Shannon, and the only one who didn't know I should put my handle and my name apparently. And I'm Couture Pens on socials and YouTube and stuff. YouTube I need to get better at, but it's there. And I've been in the planner community for forever. So that's what Mark, like you and I haven't like met you or even like realized we were in the same like area for so long. So I have to like get on and now like watch a bunch of your videos.
Well, vice versa. Yeah, they do the same thing. It's amazing.
But like I've been in here for so long that it's just so crazy. But then fountain pens just in the last year. March is actually like my 1 year of like when I went down that hole.
Shannon, how many do you have now? Because I need to know.
It's getting up there. I honestly don't know the exact number, but I won't be surprised if I hit like a triple digit very shortly.
Okay.
But I don't. It went fast.
It does. It happens so incredibly fast. You don't realize that. I have a digital catalog I keep, so I'm up to 89 currently, and it's a beautiful thing.
Well, and to be fair, I did. Okay, so I say like I bought my first pen in March last year, but it's funny because I've apparently bought them a few times along the way, like before, being like I'm gonna try this, and then I just didn't because I was too afraid of the inks or whatever. Did you ever buy anything from Happy Scrappy? Anybody?
No.
Sam okay, so Sam did like her handle's Happy Scrappy, and she did like she's into like journaling and planners and all of that and pens, and she's in Singapore, and she for a long time had a pen subscription, and I was obsessed with it, and she would do like little fountain pens in it. So probably like I remember I have a shark pen somewhere and like other cute ones like that. So I had a few of those too. And then if you watch my first video, I actually apparently bought the pastel pink Twisby Eco in like 2019 when it first came out and did not realize it until after I texted Twisby last year to be like, is this coming back out? And then realized I owned it. Story of my life. Anyway, that's
and Wendy is here.
oh yay.
Ooh, good timing.
Yes,
Hi.
Hi, Linda
Did you
Sue.
introduce yourself?
Hi. I showered. You're welcome.
Woo!
It smells so fresh in here now.
I
Thank
know,
you.
right? You don't have to sit next to me, so it's not that bad. How are you, everyone?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Good. You look
Good.
beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah, you
thank
look so pretty.
It's a beauty filter, probably. I don't know.
Snatched is how I would describe it.
Oh,
Right.
you do. Woo! Mark getting point.
Do you want to hear a story? The other day at ARC, I was there on senior day, and she said, "Are you 55?" And I was like, "Yes." I saved $4. That's my price. That's my price.
I love it. Whatever works. In this economy, I'm going to go with it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, give me a discount code any day of the week.
Yes.
100%.
Right.
So that's Wendy's introduction.
Hi, I'm Wendy. I'm not 55. Don't rat me out to the thrift store. I'm not 55, but I am almost 50.
You're
Getting
almost
there.
sorry?
I'm almost 50.
So I wouldn't have guessed that either.
I'm so youthful, right?
All right, you guys.
I was like, Marina's
right.
got the
Got it.
the topics.
Yeah. So StreamYard this morning is not letting me highlight anyone's comments. So I am
Oh.
reading all your lovely comments.
I'm in
But
the
I can't
private chat.
show
Hence
them.
why I can't see comments. Oh no.
Yeah, I can't show them on the stream today. StreamYard, for whatever reason, thinks this is a private or unlisted stream, but clearly it's not.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
says it's private.
Yeah, it's not. It's public. So
Yeah.
I'm reading all
Has
your
anybody
lovely
checked?
comments.
Is it actually streaming?
It is.
Yeah,
There are
yeah, it
there are
is.
comments over on YouTube. It's
Hi.
just StreamYard's having a moment. So we will be reading your comments this morning and discussing them, but not highlighting them on the screen because I can't.
Good times.
Good times. Gotta love a Saturday morning.
What can you do? All right.
Nothing. All right.
All right. you
You've got an
guys.
agenda this morning, Marina.
Yes.
What's
Marina,
on your
take it away.
agenda?
All right. So I woke up thinking about fountain pen trends and what we have noticed
Ooh.
happening this year already. For me personally, and I started this conversation with Alexander on my stream, I see a lot of much more of like second hand market this year, like just like popping.
Oh,
Because
that's the story of my life, though.
prices are going up. Hey,
Yeah.
prices are definitely going up. And I've seen that already. We discussed Santini. I don't know how many of you know Santini pens, the Italian company.
I've tried
So-
one once.
What they did, they posted that they've considered increasing the price of their nibs because they do 18 karat, but they don't want to do it. So they've degraded it to 14 karat instead. And their assessment was that since they started their company about 30 years ago, the price of gold has increased to about 600%.
I was gonna say.
So that's kind of my starting point. And I'm like, hey, I think people are going to be looking even more towards the secondary market because now if you want to buy a Santini with 18K, that's
Has
kind
to-
of more special.
Yeah.
And you get it on the secondary market.
How much of a difference is there? I don't know that I may have one or two pens, but obviously I don't even realize if they have like a really nice nib. But I guess what's the biggest difference you would feel between an 18 and a 14 karat
Can I
nib?
answer that?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
Sure. Go ahead.
It depends on the cut of the nib more so than the gold content, in my opinion. However, things like the 18K Pilot Vanishing Point nib is definitely a springier nib than, let's say, something that's 14K, like their number 5 nib on a custom 74 or something like that. So I think it depends on the shape and the cut of the nib more so than the gold content.
Yeah.
So, for example, like what's their names? Scribo, their flex nibs are 14K, but their regular nibs are 18K, which you would think it would be the opposite, but it's not.
But even like Sailor is more rigid, and they have like the Sailor Pro Gear is the 21K. So like,
Mhm.
I think I honestly, to me, it's more the feel of it than anything else. Like, I don't care if it says 14K. I don't even care if it says gold on it, as long as it writes the way that I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be honest, like, and I've said this to Alexandra, and I think even Marina before. Like, even when I first got into this, when I was picking, like, the first pen I chose and kept seeing over and over and over again, that I loved was a Sailor, and it was the Hachimanjia.
Oh, you would.
Kuba Sakura. That was my first pen. I was like, nope, I'm just gonna go for it. But it wasn't, I didn't know anything about like gold nibs or anything like that. I didn't know anything about Sailor, to be honest. This was a beautiful pen, and that's what sucked me in first.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I don't know that I've really ever noticed a major difference, I guess, between it, but I also haven't used a lot of them. I mean, as someone who's relatively new-ish to pens, I guess in the past, I don't know. At what point do you like get rid of your newbie pen card? Like when you have 89 fountain pens, or like when you have like, what's that time period?
You know what I say, Mark? I
say,
say, yeah, I'm a newbie, but not a novice.
I like
because
that.
when I get into it, something I go in really hard. So I've only been in about 18 months, but I'm deep in there.
Yeah, I'm the same.
You got the education.
Like I just tend to go,
yeah. I'm like a couple years in, or a few years in, and I'm not even close to being an expert. So I'm always constantly learning, and like I'm a noob forever.
Yeah.
And I think that things I can't use words today apparently, but things progress too, and there's new things that come out and new technologies, or inks are changing the formulas, like one's wetter than drier, and like even when I was like, a wet ink versus a dry ink, what the heck are you people talking about? Like,
or it depends on what you're into. Also,
so many things that I think you're constantly learning and evolving. That was the word I wanted. But that kind of stuff, right?
And like I'm super into flex nibs. Sorry, Alexandra. Okay. So I know a lot about flex nibs. I own a lot of flex nibs. I've tried a lot of flex nibs. So I think it depends on what you're into also.
Yeah, I know people that are really into one specific brand. I know a lot about that one specific brand. But if you present another potentially even really well-known brand to them, they will know nothing about it. And so I think your knowledge is accumulative, but also like when you're smart enough to know that you're making a bad decision, but you're going to do it anyways, because you know the people that if you really mess it up can fix it. Like I think that's when you've exited like the very, very beginner, and like you've at least got like a level of confidence and knowledge about a pen. Like when you're making a bad decision.
If you ever say just yank the nib, you're not a newbie anymore.
Never said that yet.
When you're taking a brass shim to a vintage celluloid pen in a video and going, don't do this, but like we're going to do it, you're probably not a newbie anymore.
I don't know any of those words. You said you were going to stab another pen with celluloid.
Not shiv, shim.
Shim. Luke is apparently doing a couple of customs with Sailor.
I saw that
right now.
Oh yeah.
When you come to Chicago, if you don't have a table, you better be bringing a coat and being like flashing us with pens. So
you got that idea for me.
I don't. As far as I know, Luke has a table, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say who with. So we'll see if Luke wants to.
I was just thinking about that. I'm going to the Baltimore Pen Show. Was it next weekend?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and I've never been. I've always gone to the DC Pen Show, and I've been told like think about it scaled down a little bit, which I'm still excited about. But I was just thinking,
get a table.
Oh no,
Alexandra, he needs
to have his fishing vest on. It'll be okay.
Yeah, no, not a fishing vest. We need a full-on trench coat.
But nothing underneath. He works hard on that body, so we don't, like.
Pens. We need.
I mean, double the pleasure, double the fun.
There you go.
So tell Luke you're welcome for giving him the idea about the Sailor nib, because I put a Sailor nib in one of his pens a year ago.
Ooh.
Right, Luke?
Just to that point, Luke, please don't get arrested.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I mean, but think about the promotion, like pen maker. Like
Handles.
Papa J Woodwork out there, like giving everyone the show, bringing the show to the show.
Yeah,
coming out of the woods.
If you get arrested, we'll take care of Peanut. It's fine. We'll adopt her in.
She'll just come to live in Canada with us.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Baltimore. I'm gonna be so jealous. Lexi's going too, and I'm like,
yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, but it's like less than 60 days until Chicago.
I know.
Don't tell me that.
I'm so excited for Chicago. Are any of you else? Is it just me and Alexandra?
I think it's just the two of us going.
I think Alexandra is arriving in the van, so she has enough space for all the packages.
Oh no, I know
she's receiving
my car.
Yeah, Shannon's got to fit them in her car to bring them to me.
So because I gotta bring I gotta bring all the all dressed chips. Apparently, I have always bring chocolate. So I made a mistake. If anybody else is on here, I made a mistake when I went to Costco about a month ago now, and I was like, oh, they have the 24 packs of the Canadian chocolate bars that I normally bring in the little mini ones, but they had the bigger ones, the 24 pack, and they were like $10. And I was like, oh, this is like 50 cents a chip. Anyways, I was like, I will get these and I'll start to buy them every time I go to Costco. So I have like a few packages. Then Shannon wanted a chocolate bar one night. And she opened the package. I had to buy a new package.
Did you eat the whole package? Good girl.
Almost all of them, except for the coffee crisps. They're not my favorite.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we're going to start with the
Here.
Costco stories, Shannon.
Oh yeah.
That's how we
Here it
begin.
comes, Costco stories.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's Costco. It gets me in trouble every time.
So Shannon, I have a confession.
Uh-oh.
I sent you the pictures of the swinks and you picked out your swink,
Yeah,
and now I can't find them. They'll turn up. They're around somewhere.
that's fine. I'm not going for a little while, so it's
I know you're not in a rush, but
No.
I'll probably get other ones made before I ever find them. But anyway,
Okay.
To be fair, Shannon showed up here in January and I couldn't find one, or Kari showed up here and I couldn't find one of the things Kari was supposed to be taking home with her. Like,
I do that.
I don't know that I ever found it. I think Kari left here without it.
Like even when I went to your house, I almost forgot the pen trays that we ordered.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I love the pen trays.
Yeah, they're really good.
Oh, I have one I can grab. There's like for once one actually close to me that I can grab. Maybe I can. It's got my pilot box in it.
So I have
I'm
to
using
check
it
in
as-
with Carola and Mark. How are you guys feeling? Because this is how it's gonna go.
No, it's fine. I mean, I'm
You
doing
can
my
bail.
I'm doing my best not to interrupt, which I have a very bad habit of doing.
I was going to interrupt and ask Mark if, like, you're going to Baltimore. Are there any vendors you're really looking forward to seeing? Like,
Yes.
do you know the floor plan? Have you highlighted your?
No, so I honestly still feel,
planner.
even though I'm a bad kind of planner when it comes to that kind of stuff. Still being new, I think, this will be the past like third year that I went to the DC Pen Show. I mean, the first time I went, I was like sweating out of nervousness, not knowing anything that was going on. It was also like the first pen show after COVID too. So there's also a lot of anxiety around like being around that many people. I almost felt like I was going into a war zone in a little bit, but it was exciting. And that I was very new. So like there was a lot of sticker shock, the first time that I went. The second time I went, I felt a bit better about it. My daughters actually went along with me and my wife did too. And it was cool because all of the vendors were giving them free stuff. And I was like, well, what about me? They're like, no, you have to pay for the pens. We're going to give them all this free stuff, So it was cool. But then from then until like now, I've met so many different makers and vendors and people like that. Like I'll remember the first time my daughters went to like the Pelican table and they saw the highlighter ink and they were like, wait, there's highlighter ink like you can put inside of a pen. And like they sold us on, the twist and they got those pens for free and we got all kinds of fun stuff. Now, I know people from Pelican, right? And like, so getting to go to the shows now is very different because I've met some of them, Luxury Brands of America, getting to know them over the years as well. So going and seeing Bryce is a really cool thing. Same things with like Yafa, worked with them and done stuff with them in the past too. So it's just cool now. And then now I'm starting to know more about like the other creators, not the makers, right? And so getting to know them in the community and like seeing people there, knowing what they look like and, for the most part, because we're so used to just seeing like the one photo on Instagram or YouTube, right? And the handle. And so a lot of times you see people and you're like, I don't know if that's them. Like, unless you're Vanessa and you have like the glasses and like the look, right? Like it's hard to know whether or not that's the person or not, right? So I feel like it'll be good. I'm excited to go see Rich from River City Pen Company. Like I've been a long time fan. Him and I talk on a chat like almost every day just to say, hey, what's up? I think, he and I are in a little bit, not a similar situation where we have full-time jobs. And then all the fun stuff we do is like the fun time job, right? It's still a full-time job, but it's not like the full-time thing. And so talking to him often about like, you know, he's making pens right now, getting ready for the show. And I'm like, oh, I've got to record reels and do some YouTube videos and stuff for content creation. But it's cool to like go there and see. I get suckered into him all the time. I have so many of his nib holders. It is horrible. I bought my first fountain pen from him earlier this year. Yeah. You know, so I just feel like I'm making these steps up. And
I have that one. That's the one.
Yeah.
So the one Alexandra has there, I ordered that nib holder for Chicago. Like I'll get it before Chicago. He's not going to be in Chicago, but yeah, I'm getting that one. I'm sorry.
I'm up to 4 of them now. You know, like it just, you keep accumulating them. I have more nib holders than I do nibs, I feel like at this point, you know, like.
I'm
trying to convince myself. Oh, you want to go? Oh, sorry. I'm trying to convince myself I don't need one of the skinny ones because I recently discovered this doesn't fit in a bunch of my ink bottles.
I love it. That's the one. I'm getting the skinny one, and I have two of Luke's, and they're a bit thicker. I haven't picked up my Valentine's one yet, Luke. So but that's what I have so much at the PO box right now. Even I'm like, oh god.
So it's going to be a really great opening video the night before Chicago.
Well, I might bring some of it home in March because I do have to go for a girlfriend's birthday in a couple weeks. So I might bring home a few things because otherwise it could be a situation in my car. Like with the chips and the chocolate and the luggage and all the things we bought.
Are you going to get a note from the PO box saying
all the Costco hot dogs?
You need to empty your PO box or we're going to steal all your stuff?
So if we have time for story time, so I've had this PO box for at least 10 years. So I've had it for a long time. The PO box itself is probably about a foot by 6 inches. It's not very big.
Yeah.
I shop a lot for stationery. I always have. COVID, I couldn't get over the border for a year and a half. And I had subscriptions and I had things and I asked him and he was like, no, literally a year and a half later he had to roll out a bin.
Wow.
You're that person at the post office.
That's awesome.
But the thing is, my post office is it's honestly in this teeny tiny middle of nowhere town, and it's one of the huge post office. So it's giant. He's never cared, and he's phenomenal. He literally brings out the little buckets for me. He's like, no, I don't care. And if anybody ever fills in for him, he's like, that stuff, just leave it alone.
Yeah, don't touch it.
So no, it doesn't matter.
He will be our next guest.
I know.
More.
Our next guest.
Our next guest is the post office guy. I know our postman so well that I gave him a baby gift.
Oh, that's
yeah.
amazing.
And I've given him gifts for especially the holding everything over COVID.
Yeah.
That. To the point one time he opened packages for me and repacked the stickers and stuff. It was we have. It's funny.
That is service. That is.
Oh yeah.
Service.
I'm so lucky. I will. It's funny because in Canada the post office people are awful. I'm hoping nobody's watching, but awful. Some of them are just.
I would say it depends on where you are.
Yes, yeah, but there's one the one by us, and I even kind of know the one, and she's okay with me, but if you read the reviews online, it's
people are reviewing the post office.
Yeah.
Service was terrible. 1 star.
Never go there.
Yeah. Oh god, okay, that got off.
Our Google reviews for the post office rank the various employees.
Stop.
And for a long time, there was only one guy, and the one guy was the only person that got the 1 and 2 star reviews.
And we're supposed to be Canadian and nice. What happened here? Carola, is it like that over there?
I love my postal workers here, so I don't know what's going on in the East Coast or where else.
And it's not my post.
But they're really nice here.
We love our post office person. It's just he was people for the first 2 years he was here. His reviews were all he's okay, but he's not as good as everyone else.
Oh no, the ones
that was his consistent feedback is he is competent at his job, but that's it.
No, what else do you want from this guy?
I feel bad almost. But the one in the US,
almost.
My mom brings him gifts and stuff. He's so nice to us. It's really good. But anyway, so we'll have lots of packages. So it doesn't matter. We're good.
Yeah.
So much mail.
Yeah, so much mail.
Yes, because I have $200 from Gold Spot burning a hole in my pocket.
There you go.
I feel that way with Atlas all the
Fancy.
time. I was just on there last night, like, what's coming up? Like, so that I can like put a little ear marker on
Atlas is
something.
so bad for me. Like I'm always scrolling adding to my wish list, and they always like, and I love that. I'm like, ooh, is anything updated and coming soon? Like I have a
That's
problem.
me. Oh, that was me. I mean, the whole thing with the Colorverse shuttle that came out, like, I didn't even know that
I want that
existed.
so bad.
It's really nice. I got it.
Cool.
It is.
I have
It's
it too.
because everyone's just like, oh, like, what is like, how is it versus the Kakamori? And I
Mhm.
just say, like, the shuttle is, it's like sharper. That's all I keep telling
Yes.
everyone,
Yeah,
right?
it looks that. Yeah.
But
It's-
and it's interesting. I mean, I love just the
I
way.
was wondering.
Like I
because
like just
It
the
looks
way it
cooler.
looks. Like
Yeah.
because I got the little like ink thing that I'll probably never use, but like just that by itself, like visually, it's absolutely beautiful and it works really well.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to use it more. I think that's like always my thing. Like I have all the like Kakamori nibs and all of my other pen holders that I have, and they're just out. I'm like, no, Mark, you have to turn around and pick that one up and
Pick
use
that
it
one up.
more often.
I found that upright, like if you're writing with it, it's very sharp. It's sharper than the Kakamori. But down, if you're doing like a brushstroke, I actually find it to be a little smoother than the Kakamori. What do you think?
I haven't tried it too much. I'm a little bit bummed. I got the antique brass Kakamori nib and it doesn't work. Like no ink comes out of it. And I'm like thinking about like, do I need to get in there and like machine it a little bit? Like I've been trying to
No.
compare it.
Use some Dawn Power Wash on it. Did you try to did you clean it really well?
No, not really well. I just
Yeah,
like feel little
that's what you
scrub
need to do.
brushes. Okay. But yeah,
Dawn
because
Power Wash.
I was really bummed about it because I was like, I've been waiting for it. It completed my collection. Like after I got the
Aw.
glass nib, I was like,
Oh, I
I
want
am
the glass.
done. And then it was like, we have an antique brass. I don't need it, but I have this completionist issue as a part of my ADHD. And so
Love
it's
it.
like,
People
I
be
must
friends.
have it. And then I got it and I was like, it doesn't work. So I'll power wash it and hopefully it works because I love it. I love the pen so much. It's so nice and easy to grab. I mean, that's a big thing. I think, you know, as much as I love fountain pens, like, and I actually enjoy the process of cleaning them out, but like sometimes I just don't want to go through that process. So it's nice to be able to like grab an ink that I want to use real quick with the dip pen. And especially for me, as I've been talking about it more and like introducing more people to it, people are like, what pen should I get? What pen should I get? I'm new. I've never had anything. I'm like, actually get a dip pen because it's like a nice step into the space without having to go all in. And then if you really like working with it, or if the inks even work with your journals and your planners, I mean, that's something that has always been an issue is like, does the ink work with the notebook that you're using? Unless you're, you know, not that type of person, but that's a really important thing. So like, I have a handful of inks, like, I would say, is it Levenger or I think
Levenger?
Levenger. I make everything sound fancier than it is. But like, yeah, but like that's an ink, for instance, that has never worked in any of my journals. It's just like the blue ink that I got. Every time I use it in any pen, it just instantly bleeds through the page. I don't know. It's a very wet ink, I guess. I don't know, but it bums me out. So it's nice to be able to just like, you know, try it and see how it works.
Yeah, sure.
Mark, does the Colorverse shuttle nib fit into the nib holder from Rick?
Yes, fits in
Rick
all
just
the
started
all of
Rick
them.
just started
Nice.
working with luxury brands to get them, didn't he?
Yeah, he was like, you have to tell me what you get if it works with my nibs. And I was like, very first thing I did, I literally took it out and stuck it in one of his. I'm like, man, we're good to go.
So
Yeah.
it
works in
fit
all of
in
them.
Luke's then, I hope.
Yeah, it will.
Because
It'll
I
be
think
fine.
everyone's kind of switching to
Their
the
standard,
new,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
whatever these are.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
pen I have from Luke, I call it the claw, whatever the name of the thing is with the like little prongs. I want to like pop it out and put one of these new ones in there because I don't love those. But it works with those guys. So any pen that you have that has it and it works out well. I haven't tried it with Luke's pen, but I'm assuming it would work. I don't know.
Luke has apparently never used a dip pen.
How do you not use a dip pen when you literally make holders for them? How do you not just have something
Just
at home?
everybody shake your head at Luke.
You have to.
Well, to his credit,
Well,
he's
I'm glad you're
using
with me.
fountain pens. So I'm pleased. There are makers, no shade to people, but there are makers who make fountain pens and don't use them. So like,
I have to
I'll
say,
take it.
Luke, in his 20 questions episode, showed off some cool fountain pens.
He's got a collection.
He does. There were
I'm
some
going to
cool
show you guys
handmade
something,
pens.
but I need Luke to look away.
Oh no.
Luke, don't be mad. Pink Pony Club.
Pink Pony
Let's see if I
Club.
can get it over here.
There
And
you go.
I droppered it. Don't tell him.
Oh,
Figure it
because he
out.
tells not to?
But when
pretty.
Luke, when you said that you were gonna, because I like the one that I have from Luke is a little bit more shapely. That one's a little more squared, I think. And I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do, how I wanted it, but I knew I was obsessed with that blank. And then he said that he put up blanks, and I think I watched the story, and 3 seconds later I ordered 2 just to be sure.
Oh, so apparently it's okay to eyedropper them, just not the floral ones.
Ah, okay. Well, I've never eyedroppered my floral one, so that's good news.
Not yet.
And the lavender haze one, Luke, just so you're watching and you know, for Chicago.
All right, you guys, you want to show your pens because I have one.
Ooh.
And since
I feel like I
Wendy
have
started
2 to
this,
show, and then Shannon needs to do some explaining because
Well, I was like, what did I do?
yesterday's pens.
Oh,
Yesterday's pens. Because you know more about them than I do.
I still can't. Okay, like, and like, there are certain things that you know all of it. You can like maintain all of this information on fountain pens and inks, and like I can ask you about nibs, and I have no idea, and you retain all of that, but then you can't. I love you.
I know. God bless you, Alexandra.
When did I order this? And I was like, oh God.
You still love me.
Yeah, I just said that.
Mom really loves it. She can like buy something and put it away for a couple days, and like it's a new thing. Or sometimes she can tell me something, and like 3 days later she'll tell me it again, and it's brand new information.
I mean, definitely pros to it, right? I mean,
Right? Yeah.
Let's forget about all the cons, of course.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
All the cons. All right, who wants to show pens first?
you go.
are we showing a certain theme of a pen or just any pen?
Yeah,
Any
whatever you
pen.
want to talk about.
I got a new Flex pen.
Ooh.
I bought it in Philly from Les Sheely from Stylus Suite,
Okay.
which is the whole reason I went to Philly in the first place. And then I just got it, and I'll show it to you. It is an Edison Collier, and it's Juniper Pearl is the colorway. And it's a fine italic X-Wing harpoon. Let's see if I can get it to show my
Wow.
Yep, there we go.
writing. There you go.
That is fun.
Whoa, nice.
And it writes in reverse, and it's, I mean, there's nothing like a Stylus Suite nib. There's nothing like it.
I don't think I've even tried those.
No, I know. He only sells at shows, really, and he goes to 3 shows a year.
Where was he in the room?
He was, if you walked straight back from the front door, all the way back on the left-hand side, the far back left table.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah.
But let me see if I can show you guys the way it's cut. It's really easy to see from the underneath side. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
It's cut very interestingly. And so it kind of looks like a X-Wing fighter from Star Wars.
Love it. That's like my big thing for the year as I've started to accumulate more and more. I've decided that this is the year that I'm only buying very interesting looking pens. So like anything like that's right up my alley. That's why I also get into trouble with anything that Luke is like showing or, or anybody else. Like I've been getting into like Jason Neal, like his stuff recently. I actually got one of his pens. I went on a bit of a shopping spree because he posted these guys. I don't even know again,
cool.
Just really cool looking stuff. And I'm just seeing this stuff and I'm just like,
is that a matte finish, Mark?
Yes, it looks shinier. Cool. It looks shinier than it is, but like
no, it looks like a matte finish to me. It's awesome.
Yeah, it was just so cool. So I went on, like I said, I've been very big on this year. You were saying about like rebuying pens. Like even though I buy some more of the like popular main brands, this year I've been all about like supporting like these other creators because as I've been slowly getting into it, it's been really cool to be introduced to other pen makers. Luke has done all of it because when he posts on his stories about like all these different pen makers, I'm just like, look how cool this is. And it like very much like vibes with me because I feel like similar to like with notebooks and stationery as a whole. This is a very generalist comment. Don't get mad at me about it. But like, I feel like the demographic is not always aimed towards guys, So like a lot of the times to find things like that you're looking for. And I say that, and I'm sure people would be like, have you walked into a pen show and seen all these like stodgy old men, that have these pens forever? But like the new, more modern pens, which I didn't even know there was a difference until the 20 questions with Alexandra, when she's like, modern or classic? And I was like, aren't all fountain pens just modern. But it's been really cool this year to like find them and see them, and then I kind of eyeball them. But the problem is so many of them have like a wait list to like get on anything.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes they get really lucky. Like Rob made his little.
I was about to
pen.
say, I've
So,
been
like-
on his list for a while.
Yeah. So like I got lucky. I don't know how, but he had a blank already because he was like, do you want a nib holder or a pen? And I was like, I don't know anything, buddy. Like, I mean, if you have a nib holder, like I'm down. He's like, because my pen list is like I don't know, 2 years out or something crazy.
Right.
And so like it was like a week later that I got this in the mail, and I was like, how did this, like, first of all, I was scared to tell anybody because people have been on his list forever. Right. I'm like, how did my nib holder get in front of other people's stuff? I don't know. Luke was like, I may have given you like a good word, but like Rob's amazing as like someone to like get to know. And like what I love about him and a lot of the pen makers too is like when they put their love and passion into what they're doing, I think that makes the story so much more interesting when purchasing a pen, regardless of like who or what it is. But I just often feel just like it's cool to like see that, and you know you're purchasing something from somebody who's real passionate. Luke's a great example. You know, I remember seeing his pens for the first time and like loving the shape. And you know, like I'm not a big floral guy necessarily, but like when you see, you know, nib holders that have stuff built into them, right? Like I love using this outside in the sunlight. That sounds like a very weird thing to do, but like this pen looks like it's glowing when you're writing with it outside, you know? So like
it'd be
cool
weirder to use it in the dark.
It would be. I mean, we have glow in the dark pens and ink, but no, I know what you're saying. But it is. It's just very cool, I think, to find that. I have another pen I was going to talk about, but we're talking about like fancy pens, so I'll talk about mine later.
This is my first Papa J Woodworks, and this is the one that has the Sailor 21K nib in it.
Ooh, snap! Ooh, that's a nice.
So
one.
I am a tinkerer, and so I like to switch things around and.
I'm so terrified about pulling anything out. Like I got like Tom Studio sold their new nibs, and I was like, wait, I can take the nib out of the pens that I have, and I felt like a little scientist. Like I was like, please don't mess this up. I'm like, actually, all pen makers do this. Why am I just now realizing this?
Yeah,
yeah, love taking nibs out.
Yeah. But it's funny, Mark, when you say that, because when you went back to like because the planner and the journaling community, I find will go with very like feminine, very girly, and not doesn't market a lot to like men and stuff like that. Whereas I found, and one of the main reasons I didn't go down the fountain pen hole way earlier was because for a long time it was very masculine. It was more black pen, navy, dark greens, browns. There's no pinks, purples, and that's what I said. Like it makes me laugh still about that Twisby, because it was like, oh, I'd always wanted to, and when I saw the pink one apparently in 2019, was like, let's try that because it was cute, but then just never did it. But also like I like what I like, and that's always been who I am. Like so, whereas I still like a black pen, although I got flack from my friends the other day for that. But like they like Lexi or not Lexi. Galen from Fountain Pendulum wrote me, and she's like, are you okay? Like, do you need an intervention? Like, what's happening? But I just find like I love that it's kind of, I feel like they're very much merging now, and it's kind of I see both. And then with the makers, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like even in the last 4 or 5 months, they are like upping the game. Like they are really doing some seriously cool stuff. Like I love hardware or something different about the pens. Before I even knew what makers were, I think I found Luke, and I loved Luke's because they were different. They weren't just resin, which is not, I mean, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but they were something very unique, very feminine, very like I think I messaged him. He probably thought I was crazy. And I was like, I need this like now. How long do I have? He's like, well, I'm a few months away. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, just put me on the list. And he was like, okay, crazy lady, but okay. But and he was so nice to work with and stuff. And then like, but lately, even, I don't know, I just feel like they're really bringing their A games, and I'm so excited to see what's going to come in the next year from a lot of makers.
Mad Scientist pens is one I've been keeping my eye on a lot recently. Again, introduced from Luke though, because the look of those are so interesting and cool and like so different. And, like the inset nib, like everything about the way that they're constructing them. And the material is one thing, and like this whole like I want an Opalex. Is it Opalex? Is that the name of the material? Yeah. I want one. I just can't afford it. It's so expensive. I'm like, is there like a discount version that you can give me? But like, give me a.
Have you guys seen the custom Oprah X King of Pen from Sailor?
Oh,
Yes.
it is it is stunning. And the Magna Carta one, I like that.
Goldspot just did.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But
You know what I get really jazzed about is like female makers and female,
Right.
you know,
I want
and
one of Michaela's pens.
non-male.
Me too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
McKay.
I'm
Yeah.
a
I
huge
have one
fan
of
of
hers with me.
Black Robin. I've
And I
done
love
a
that they
review
do-
on my channel.
Oh, nice.
Meg of Black Robin. She's a maker from the UK.
Oh, okay.
She
Nice.
makes her own blanks too. She's just great. I mean, the form of her Ophelia pen is very kind of that.
I'm not
My
sure.
light is too bright.
Is that which one's that one?
This is Michaela.
Oh,
Okay, so
pretty.
That's
That's
Michaela.
style I want.
White
I'm
Bear.
not I don't do demonstrator very well. Like I like some like with like loops. I like the florals in the demonstrator. That's okay. But I wanted like an opaque cap because I'm not the demonstrator cap isn't my thing, for the most part. And I know she has one style that I think is mainly the demonstrator cap, but then she has one that has like the clip and it has like a little band and stuff. I think that might be the one you have when you see. That's the one I like that I want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently,
So cool.
Luke has orders in with both Michaela and Meg. And we're going to continue to jump on Luke because I loved the Pink Pony Club blank.
Oh, I bought two real fast.
I know you did.
Very pretty.
And I texted him about how much I loved them. But Luke does not make pens with clips.
Oh.
Let's say
And-
yes. Luke, can we have that soon?
He's got enough to worry about than trying to figure out how to machine a clip in there. Let's let the man
He's
let
gotta go
him
to
cook.
the gym, man.
You know, let him cook. He's doing good.
I can't use them.
He'll make you a pen holder out of wood, and then you just sit your pen on that little pen holder. Don't worry about no
Well,
clip.
so
Oh, no.
instead he's sending the Pink Pony Club blanks to whoever I wanted.
Oh, okay, very nice.
Yeah,
Or you could put a little roll stop on it.
yeah, exactly. A roll stop would fix my issue.
Yeah.
So Luke is lovely. We love Luke.
I was I was gonna say I'm like pretty much on the same wavelength as Mark in terms of like really being into maker pens in the last year and a half. Like, yeah, I have, you know, some of the popular brands and I still buy, you know, the SDs and things like that. But in the last year and a half, especially going to pen shows, I feel like same as Mark. I'm just gonna like repeat everything you said, Mark. But like talking to the makers and getting like stories and hearing about how they make their pens, the passion that they put into them is like so like it just adds that much more to the pen, especially because like, you know, when you walk away with a pen, you have a story attached to it, right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to show and tell my latest from the California Pen Show. It's a black pen, Shannon.
Oh, I like black pens.
But
Yeah.
look at that.
So
So this
good.
is a Skogsy Pens Choya.
Ooh.
And it's actually like, it's a chunky pen, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, Mark.
I've had my eye on like really thick, huge pens for a while, and I can never like find it. That's awesome.
So here's the thing with a chunky pen. It is actually really comfortable for someone who has a small hand because
Yeah.
because it sort like it takes away the pressure of like having to grip a small pen. And so you kind of like just naturally let it sit. It has like great writing balance.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I've been like really into this. And then I have a cursive italic nib in there,
Bye.
which is really nice. It
Who
was
did it?
ground by Annabelle.
Excellent.
Yes, from Opus Cineris. And then I've been really into custom ground nibs too. So like talk about like being a newbie to fountain pens, right? Like once you know all the stock nibs and you've kind of found the one that you like, then you get into custom ground nibs, Mark.
Oh, I'm already there. I've got a few.
There you go. So then I got Gina from Custom Nib Studio to grind a reverse architect on this Leonardo Momento Zero reverse architect.
God, I love
right?
architect nibs. That's amazing. I need that.
Yes. And the thing is, like, I love architect nibs and, like, I love like stub nibs and stuff. But the thing is, I don't use them often enough to make it worth having like a whole pen just dedicated to that nib.
Mhm.
So reverse, like, that's a whole new world of custom nibs is on the right side, like on writing normally, I have like a fine line, which is fine, taking notes, and then switch it over. And on the reverse, you have an architect, right? Like for headers or when you're yelling in your journal, Mark.
One of
Right?
my favorite grinds is Kirk Spears Imperial,
Mm.
which is
that way.
forward a CSI and then reverse kind of a monoline thick. And I have fines and I have double broads of Imperial, and they're
Oh no,
Nice.
wait, it's
tremendous.
on the list. Sorry.
Yeah, Kirk is the only one that I have any custom nibs from because I was just enamored. So I had gotten High Plains from him, and then I'm trying to think. I did another one too, but I forget
Honto, maybe.
which one. It might have just been like one of the monoline ones, honestly. And just seeing that because I wasn't really sure like what the hell to do, but I actually went to Pen Boutique. He was in Colombia, and again, this is all stuff that like I've never known about this kind of stuff. Like people talk about it. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I was like, he's coming to a place near me, and I went. And again, same deal, like sitting down, watching him do that. Like my next one, I know Julia's not doing them yet, but Julia here, I really want her to do a custom nib for me.
Yes.
And she was like, send me a pen, like if I mess up. And so like I've been like iffy about it now because I'm a Jubilee person with Ferris Wheel Press, so like I always get pens, and I'm like, I kind of want to send you like a new one that I like. The Jewel's actually really nice to write with, and I was like, oh, what if I get you to do one of these? And she's like, Mark, but that's like an expensive pen. I was like, but I don't care. Like, how cool would that be? Because finding
that on the ground floor.
Exactly. I was like, I'll do anything because she's doing really good with it. It's such a cool thing because again, it takes your pens to the next level. I feel like it's those like entry level steps when you start getting into like custom grinds and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's beautiful.
It's dangerous. Kirk Spear is local to me, you guys.
Oh no.
So the first time I ever got custom grounds, I went to his house and spent like a couple of hours with him. And we talked about it. Was so cool.
I would be like the paparazzi outside of his house every time. We're like, Kirk, I got a new pen.
Hey, what are you doing?
Can I take you out for lunch? Can you do this while we're at the table? I'll feed you soup.
Kirk's awesome. I took like a couple of pens to a pen show, and I sat at his table, and I was like, what do I do with these two pens? And he was like, well, here are some testers, like try them out. And so I got like a Waverly and a Scythe and like just different grinds that I probably wouldn't have asked for just because like I was like, I have stock nibs. What do I do?
Right? Something that I don't know if this isn't even an option for you, Mark, but I love the idea of what I've started to do and what I've decided for this year I'm going to do, especially because I have a lot of pens that will take like the Yovo nibs and stuff like that. Well, Kirk always does like a pen show nib too. So I will go and get the pen show nib and then I will have him do a grind on that particular nib, and then you can put it in different pens. Ooh, so like, and then that way I can get all of his grinds over a certain amount of time or whatever. But even for like, if you wanted to send one to Julia, so if you have a pen that you can interchange the nibs, just send her one of those, and then she can do the nib on that. Is what I was going.
Yeah, because the only one that I got was a Twisby at the time. I think I got a Narwhal one run and then a Twisby because I think at that point it were the only broad ones that I had like early in my pen collection. So I mean, I can kind of interchange those. I've had to do that with the Twisbys because my mini vac keeps cracking. The body keeps cracking all the time, and that's the one that I have that nib on. So I was like, F it, like I'm putting on a different pen that I can actually use. Like this is making me mad, but that's actually really smart to think about like a more interchangeable one because I have so many pens now. It's like I want to use the pen, but maybe I don't want to use that size nib right now, and just like swap them out.
I love that, like because Leonardo's are like that, Esterbrook's are like that. I think Narwhal is like that.
Franklin Christoph.
Pardon?
Franklin Christoph. Like that's a show nib from Kirk.
Yeah, I got
from SF.
Oh, and SF, yes. So like
I like
to Philly, and I think I got the Waverly done that time, and then last time I don't remember what I did last time.
I like to heckle Kirk, and I buy his nib and then have someone else grind it right in front of his face.
Literally in front of his
That
face,
meme.
and sparks fly
Yeah,
up.
I'll be like, "Hey Matthew, do you have time to grind this nib I just bought from Kirk?"
Yeah, Kirk said he's too busy for me. Anyone else? That's how to get pushed up in line real quick.
That's right.
The problem I'm having though is like it is getting a little expensive now, especially with the pen shows, because I'm on this like maker thing. Like the one I got last year at the DC Pen Show was from Little Hollow Customs, and they made this like reduction model. I think it was made out of copper. And I like walked around. I saw them first, and again, talk about a great story. Their kids were sitting under their table like on iPads while they're like talking and like doing their pens. It was great. But I remember seeing them, and I saw the price tag, and I was like, I don't know, Mark, you've never bought a pen that costs that much money. And I like walked around the other rooms, and I found myself back in there. And I think that you're only I didn't buy any inks because I have so many inks. But like I was like, no, this year I'm like doing the pens, and that was my big buy of the year. That and the Hello Tello, that was another one too. That was like a little bit more expensive than I wanted to pay, but it's pretty damn amazing. But it was just really cool to like see that. But I think that's where I'm at now, where I'm like, yeah, I can get an inexpensive pen. That's not a problem. But like investing in them, it has to be something really special for me. And it's all like right now, similar, Carola, like you said, like it's all about the shape for me right now. Like it is all like pens kind of all start to look the same after a while. But when you see a really cool shape, you're like, yes, this is different, and I need to have it in my life.
Baby.
Yeah, like the baby.
Yeah, so I went from like a baby Saguaro from Skogsy to this one.
Yeah, just make that little upgrade. You find something that you like and you go a different direction, you know?
Yeah.
About the like children at pen shows, Wonder Pens in Toronto brings their children to Scriptus and ties helium balloons to them. So in Scriptus content, you'll just see a balloon that's taller than all the people. And if you're at Scriptus, you'll know that balloon is attached to a toddler or a 3-year-old or a 6-year-old. And that's so that the parents know where the children are in the room.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
amazing.
that they don't get trampled. Like,
Yeah.
And everybody just knows that the Wonder Pens kids have balloons tied to them. It's just a known thing.
I mean, God bless those kids. Like that is a lot. I mean, it's a lot for the makers and creators to sit around. That's just so like, and that's the other thing too. Last year, I felt like so many more people were there, and I usually don't have problems with a lot of people or noise, but it's just so just like it's just overwhelming, but in a good way. But at the same time, you're just like I want to stand in the line. I want to look at this, and it gets so hot in there too. It's so many emotions happening simultaneously, and you're just like, this is insane. But it's such a cool experience. But for the kids, I can only imagine like what that's like. Like not only do you have to sit in a car ride here from the Midwest to a coast, then you have to sit at your parents' table and be entertained and like listen to your parents talk about what they like stuff that they're doing all the time. Like those kids definitely deserve all the awards and all the candy.
Yeah.
My daughter's super into pens. She loves pens and is mad when she doesn't get to go to pen shows.
I just tried to ask my kids. I was like, do you want to come to the Baltimore Pen Show? My daughter was like, no. And the other one was like, I mean, I will if you want me to. I'm like, I only want you to go if you want to go. Like, I'm fine with going by myself because I get really excited when they want to get into those pens and use them. But they're definitely in the like, it's not a cool thing right now. And I was like, y'all will come back around. One is going to be 15 and the other is 13. So like, when they were younger, I think they had like the Pelican, like the twist, their table, they would fool with it or whatever. But then we got them cell phones. They don't want to touch paper or pens anymore. They'll come back around eventually.
They'll come back. No, I was about to say, like they learn by example. I watched my dad. My dad was a draftsman, so like he used phantom pens, and like I did not use them like frequently up until sometime in my adult life. But I saw that, I saw how he uses them. So it's like, it's something that you remember, and when the time comes, you kind of pick it up. So.
Yeah. One day it will click for them.
Yeah. Well, that is cool.
That, though, if it does, because you know how expensive it is for you. Well, the girly ones, I swear there's a pink tax. And like my dad, I'm telling you, when I was even growing up, just as a child, like, I think he was more afraid to take me to Staples or Business Depot, whatever you guys call it, than it ever was to go to like the mall for clothes or makeup. He was terrified of Staples because I'd be like, I need every single gel pen color. I need the pencil crayons. I need the markers. I need the like. It was a whole
back to school shopping still excites me. Like I don't need any of it, but I still am like, come on, let's go pick out cool folders and pens and organization. They're like, Ew.
Yeah. I need like a binder for every subject.
Binders, yeah.
Oh my god, it was so. I'm telling you, he was terrified.
No,
When
it's
I was a
something-
little girl, they had a stationery shop in the like the shopping center near our house called Paperwares.
Ooh.
And they had stickers and charms and all these things. And all my friends were into the stickers and charms. And I'm over there feeling the paper and smelling the paper and stuff. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing. I don't know what you mean.
You have ink
I like
underneath your
stickers
nose.
too.
When I was little. Lisa Frank got me. I think that's where it started. Or like the Sandy Lion stickers. Was that what they were called? Do you guys remember those?
Yeah.
I'm just really old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my
I'm
first
too
love
young
was.
for this.
I would say my favorite was the school store and the pencils with the replaceable graphite and the crayon ones all day long. I mean, if you lost one of those little inserts, like you were
screwed.
done, right? You
Yeah.
steal it from your friend's pen to get it back. But like that is where it started.
Like even in the last probably like 6 years, I think, when I found those like monoline, are they called monoline mechanical pencils, and they like turn?
Oh,
yeah.
the Coratoga ones.
Yeah, like I was just like, this is amazing. Like, what happened here?
Yeah, the technology is just like next
Oh,
level.
stationary.
And meanwhile, those mechanical pencils are like $100+, and I'm trying to like justify why I would ever purchase a pencil for that much money. I'm like, but there's cool technology.
I don't know. I
Maybe
think
not.
I maybe it happened with you guys too, but I swear fountain pens broke my brain for math on things, because I remember thinking like the first time I bought a pen, like a fountain pen, like even probably that Twisby or whatever, I was like, I'm spending like $50 on this pen. Like, why?
I would never
What is
spend
happening?
$20 on a fountain pen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, when I finally started, and when I had started to look and really liked that Sailor pen, and of course it was on like the aftermarket and all of that, I was like, I can't spend like this much money on a pen. And then I did, and then then like a couple like little what? Now you're like, oh, 200's not that bad.
Yeah, that's cheap. What are you talking about?
And then, like,
Shannon, you wanna
my brain
know
broke. Like
how
something
much
happened.
your Jinhao was? 'Cause
Oh.
she was just telling us all about her new pen.
I haven't tried them yet. I'm just curious about them, so I ordered a couple because I'm obsessed with vanishing points. I love them, and it's the colors though. Like I always liked it. And I mean, maybe this is a topic in your thing, and because I remember I was going to say it when you started this conversation, Marina, about even costs and stuff. But it is killing me that the pretty ones or like the special editions. I don't care if it's a limited edition. I don't care if it's a special edition. I would rather it be something that everybody can get if they want it. But like, why is one that has a tiny bit of a gradient $200 more than one that's just blue? And it's the exact same mechanics in the pen. The finish is the same, but there's okay, maybe $50 more, but why $200 more? And then with these Jinhaos, like I got them because I was curious for like $25 Canadian to try one. I had to, and they feel the exact same as Vin.
My new one, I just did a little brush shim, and it's delightful.
I haven't. They just came. Like they're still in plastic, but
the self will, like the willpower you have not to have already opened that.
I was opening it when waiting for you guys coming up with this. But I mean, like the barrel and the weight, not talking about internal mechanisms, but it's exactly the same. And if that's the case for the color versions, why is it that with Vanishing Points or with other brands, just because it's labeled as special edition, if the mechanics are the same, why is it so much more? And I think that's hurting my soul a little bit.
It's just marketing, man.
Unless it's materials. I mean, sometimes if they're using a certain thing, and it's like or more hand done. I was thinking about that with the Kaweco Lilliput. Like I got the whatever fire one because it's like, well, they tell me it's hand torched. I don't know if it is or not, right? But that pen, the regular like aluminum one, it's a pretty big difference between the two. I mean, again, it was total like pen blindness. I didn't even care. I was like, oh, cool, like thing. I need to have it. It didn't matter how much it cost. But I think sometimes they do get you there. I'm interested in this whole like dupe conversation too, because I got 2 fountain pens through like Temu, because everyone talked about all of it for so long, and I was like, I'm gonna try it and see. People got mad at me about it, but the problem, they were for me horrible. Like, I can't even get them to work. I've cleaned them. I've tried all these different things, and they are the worst pens ever. And I know some people who feel total opposite, where they're like, these work forever. It makes me, I'm glad I didn't spend a lot of money on them, but I'm still mad I spent any money on them, because I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like, this is an exact dupe of this pen. Is it worth it? And I was like, no, it's not actually worth it at all. But I know other people are having really good experiences with like the less expensive kind of brand versions of it. And I'm just like, I don't.
It too depends on the brand and depends on how they do it. Like I was saying to these guys just before, I don't think you had come on with it yet, with the Jinhao, for example, with the Vanishing Point dupe or whatever. I feel like, one, the patent had expired a long time ago. Two, they're not pretending to be the Vanishing Point.
Exactly.
Like, they actually have their name right on the clip. They're not saying they're this. They're not saying they're something that they're not. And I feel
it's
like,
not a counterfeit.
yeah,
Counterfeit is different than
different. Like when somebody knocks off and puts on like the Mont Blanc logo onto a pen, that's different.
Yeah, that's
wrong.
uncool.
That's blatantly wrong. But to me, like if it's not look like, I still see problems with it. I do. I'm not saying that, but they're not trying to be something they're not. Like they're not marketing it that it's something that it's not. And literally, like when you're putting your own logo on it, like to me, you're doing your own thing. So I think the part that gets me is if it's not the body, like you're right, like the marketing part.
It's the brand, yeah.
I think that's getting to me, and it makes me a little sad too recently, because Marina, you mentioned this earlier, prices are going up and sometimes drastically. And like, because even I seen a pen that I love, and it's from Japan, again, one of the little Incora ones, and it was like the price went up by like $50 to $70 for this little pen when it went up, and that's a lot. And it's like, okay, well, right now, honestly, I said this with the journaling, the planner community, and the fountain pen community, I really see them merging in the next, like really, like the last year, but even in this next year, I think it's going to happen even more. And it's going to bring more people in. And I feel like it's having this boom all of a sudden. But how many people are going to be turned away if they are outpriced? And I think that sucks. So when it comes down to something like these Jinhaos, I'm hoping that people don't give them so much flack about it, because if this is bringing you joy, if it's bringing you back to creativity, because that's what this was about for me when I first started this again. It brought me back into a community that I've loved for so long, that I've met my best friends in it. And like, look, like I adore all of you, and I've just met a couple of you. You know what I mean? Alexandra and I talk all the time. We've just met. Like I can fully say, like, I love this community. I love the people. Yes, the pens are there and I love them too, but it is about the relationships I've made in this community for the last 10 years and bringing more people in. And if this is going to help their mental health, this is going to help them be creative, this is going to help them do things that they love, who gives crap if it's $5 or $500? If it brings you joy, then that's it. That was my rant.
And to that point, I think Lori Tata looked into it, and for a lot of these pens, the patent has expired. So
that
long
and that makes it a little. But like I said, to me, I think the patent expiring was a big deal for me too. But two, that they're not marketing it as something that it's not. They're not saying that. They're not trying to say it's something. They put their name on it. This is theirs. So how is that really any different when one shape of a pen? And I don't mean that's not bad, and I don't mean it, but like a lot of like say makers pens are like they're similar shapes and they're similar blanks, but what makes that any bad or worse than? Like it doesn't.
A lot of it definitely is the brand name.
Yeah, think about it in other industries, in fashion or in auto or in anything, or in pharmaceuticals. You know, these companies put in all the R&D to get a drug approved, and then after 20 years after the application date, it expires and it goes generic. I mean, that's why patents exist.
That's how it works, and I just mean. I think the biggest part of all of it to me is I don't want to see people that are looking at this hobby and thinking they can really love it or need it, to be honest, be priced out of it because everything keeps going up, or because people are
poo-pooing,
not attacking, but like knocking a pen because it's not so much. Honestly, you can have pens that are $20 and you can have a pen that's $1,000 and the $20 one writes better.
Oh, 100%. I think that was a big thing. That was a big thing for me when I had a chance to try like a Waldman pen, like it's someone's like $500 pen, and I was like, okay, like this is nice. It's like I forget what it's made out of, something really fancy metal. And then I just tried it up against like Twisby, and I was like, I actually like running with this like $30 Twisby more. But I think it all has to do with the name, the brand, and kind of getting into it more. I was when you were talking about journaling and thinking about getting people into it, I was actually thinking about Archer and Olive. I've worked with them for a very long time, and like their sub boxes, they came out with these. I'm like, you see this pen, and like, what do you think of when you see this
There
shape?
you go.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not right. It's
Yeah.
just like their whatever version pen that they got, that they are using. And it's funny because like for me being into fountain pens, I was like, knock off, like why are they doing this? But for anybody else that has no idea about it, that's why I love the sub boxes from them, because sometimes it introduces you to new things that you didn't know. So everyone who was terrified of trying a fountain pen now has a pen, and they came with a few inks to try out. What's interesting, I love, and this is one of the things I love about kind of sharing and like educating people, is that they message me and be like, how do I use this? Like, what do I do? Which is great for me. It gives me a content idea on like, hey, you got this sub box and this pen and ink, here's how you can use it.
The Taylor Swift fountain pen is a good example of that.
Oh,
I did a video about that. Yeah, I did a video about that because I thought people are going to get this and not have a clue what to do with it.
Yeah, especially if you haven't before. But I think it's really cool though when companies can. I think it's just a little bit iffy though. It's like what I kind of talk about with it is that they want to do it and they want to kind of get into it, but they're not going to put out the most expensive pen to do it. Like, the filler system for a lot of these is like, it's not a twist. It's like I don't even know what it's called. It's like the inexpensive, like this thing.
The bladder thing they used.
No, it's this. It's this.
Oh,
It's the pool, and I was like,
uh-huh.
ew. Like I know people do these cheaper. I get them in every other pen, but it was just like one of those deals where like it still works. It's just not my favorite thing in the world, but it works. And I also feel bad because sometimes that comes out when I talk about it. I'm like giving all these opinions about how I don't like the way that you fill it, but it actually works just fine. But I think
as long as you're not knocking it, I don't think that that's a situation. Like,
I was knocking.
Mark
was saying that he hates it.
You could do better. No, but
someone else likes it, that's okay, right? And I feel like that's the big part. Like, even, I mean, people will knock Yoho nibs and stuff like that. Like, why? If they work great for you and you love them, you love interchanging them, you love, like, to me, I think that's great to do the grinds and stuff on, especially if I'm not 100% sure on them. Or like, I was terrified. We were talking about the secondhand market, and I think that's a good place now. Whereas when I first started, I was terrified of buying something on the secondhand market because, one, I didn't know at first, like, interchangeable things, or I didn't realize that somebody could fix the nib if it was screwed up. Like, I didn't know any of that, right? So why would you go and spend $200 plus on something that you're not sure who could have done what to it and is just selling it, and you're screwed when you get this thing, right? So I just feel like there's so much to it that I don't know. Like,
I will say though.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I will say I have bought a lot of pens on the secondhand market, and I have never, knock on wood, I have never had a bad experience. I mean, I think what I've found as far as the community being generous and honest and kind has come through for me. I think if you're buying somewhere shady, maybe, but the places where I buy secondhand, I have literally never had a bad experience. So I think, if you're careful. And the other thing is, for people getting into the hobby, I have a lot of really nice pens, and I let people try them all the time. Everywhere I go, I let people try them. And I think all of us feel that way, right? So if people who want to get into the hobby can find someone who's just going to shove pens into your hand, here, try this and try this and try this, I think that's how we really help people decide what they like before they spend $20 or $500, right?
Oh yeah, I love handing a pen to someone who's like, "Oh no, like I'll break it." And I was like, "You can't break it." I just had a coworker of mine come in, she's from Chicago, and I was like, "Have you ever been to Atlas? Because like you're right there." She's like, "No." I was like, "Y'all need to go." But I gave her like a handful of like platinum preppies and like another pen and like some inks, and she was like, "I don't know how to do any of this." And I was like, "Baby steps, like you just pop in the little cartridge here and use it." And she was so excited. I have have 2 other friends at work too are the same way. Like I try to use a new pen every week, and so I'll bring in a different one to work, and they're like, "What do you got this week?" And I'm like, "Try it out, see if you like it." And
No, I
it's
love
just
that.
yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I mean, it was the same way for me when I got it. I wasn't even into pens, and a coworker had the Vanishing Point, and I was, at that point I was just using, probably like Muji pens. Like that was like the extent of my pen usage at that point. And I was like, "Oh, this is really okay. I like this." And I was like, "So how much is this? Like $50, like $80?" She's like, "It's a little bit more than that." And I was like, "I would never in my life pay for that." And then as soon as I call it my stormtrooper, but like I had to have it, and I didn't think twice about it. But it's funny how it changes over time too. Yeah, hey, look, twins. But yeah, it's amazing how it changes over
my
time.
first question when people are like, "So you're really into pens, right?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "I can't do calligraphy." I'm like, no. You just use them like regular pens. And what I ask them is, "Do you have a favorite pen?" And if they say yes, then I say, then you'll be into fountain pens.
Yeah.
If you couldn't give a rip about pens and you'll use the pen from the bank, you probably don't care about fountain pens. But if you have a particular pen that you really love and you go out and seek out that pen, you can be into fountain pens.
Yeah.
Right.
So Marina knows Maya. Maya's thing has always been, Maya's basically my sister. She is the mod of this channel. People hear mention of Maya. People never see Maya other than Marina, who has met Maya. She is
Maya.
special. Maya's big thing has always been she will never get a fountain pen, except if I track down the Taylor Swift pen. Then she'll get a fountain pen. I know you have a Taylor Swift pen.
Although my daughter really wants it.
What kind of pen is the Taylor Swift pen?
It's just like a cheapy wood and brass pen.
Okay.
But it has her little logo on it.
Yeah.
It's a good entry kind of level.
Yeah.
But I think
Sure.
it's great to bring more people in. Like, what does it
Right.
matter? Like, it's just one. I just think that's so cool that they even did that in the first place. Like, and it sold out real fast, as far as I understand.
Right.
It sold out shockingly fast, and then they never restocked it. This week, though, I had to go to Toronto Pen Shop. I can't drive. I went, Maya, you want to take me on an errand? And so she spent an hour in Toronto Pen Shop.
Oh
What's
my.
Guess who left with a fountain pen? Guess who didn't leave with a fountain pen?
Oh no!
What'd she get?
She bought a Cockano. She bought one of the new ones. But
Nice.
I thought of this because we were talking about price increase. Anyone want to guess what a Cockano now costs in Canada?
Tell us what it was.
$22.
They were $19.50.
Uh-huh.
Anyone want to guess what they are now?
I know.
30?
You told me.
25.
Well,
30.
those new ones now here are $20 US.
Yeah, so that's more
$31.99.
expensive.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
But that's
that new
that's
line
another
is
thing.
crazy.
So Carola, Alexandra, and I, like, it's literally 50% more. So if it's a $200 pen in the US, it is $300 for us.
Yeah.
Like, it's not it, and that's where, like, even so Banu just yesterday dropped 2 Paris hand-painted Paris pens. I want both of them, like, so badly, because Paris is like Paris is just, I love Paris and I love Banu. The hand paint, they're stunning. But to get both of them literally would cost me almost $1,000 Canadian. Justify it. Like, I can't do it. And I'm just like, it hurts my soul. Like, because I would, hands down, easily, but I can't. Like, especially with, like, and when you guys saying going to the pen shows, like, you want to support different makers and you want to support different small shops because it matters right now so much, like, even more than normal. Like, it's just, but they aren't seeing some of that. And I think also too, like, what's the first thing right now people are going to give up? It's going to be spending extra money on their hobbies and stuff.
Sure.
I really don't want to see that happen because I can see, like, not only bad things in economy, but bad things for people's mental health and that kind of.
And that was my point, Shannon.
Decline.
I was about to show my pen, which I also thrifted. It was second hand. Sailor Rialo.
Oh, so pretty.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I also want the Banu pink one, but I can't do that either.
21K. I'm not
I love
gonna
my
say how
Rialo.
much because it was really cheap. But yeah, I was just very lucky to get it. But to your point, Shannon, that's what I wanted to say. I think the big part why we are into this hobby is for the mental health purposes. And I think this is what it is for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so if, spending this much money affects your mental health, which I think is the case because you buy into FOMO.
Oh, for sure.
lot of
I'm
times.
never gonna, and I'm not a minimalist. I am over the top.
Right, and that's
Maximalist to the maximalist.
That's what it
Yeah,
is.
like,
Yeah.
and I know that. Like, I'm not gonna pretend I'm something I'm not. Like, I love little extra things, and I love cute things. But even for me, it literally goes for if it's cute or not. Like, it could be $5 or $500, and if it's cute, I want it either way. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not about that either. So I think it's hard, but you're right, Marina. Like, people are going to walk away from it or not take the time because they can't. And I
or
don't,
just be more selective about it. I mean, that's how I feel
Yeah.
whenever I'm like, you need to calm it down, Mark. It has to be something that really pops out. I've been doing something recently to fool myself where I'll say like, okay, like they said that it's, only available now, and I'll give myself 2 days. And like, if no one buys the pen, then I'm like, well, I guess it's meant to be, and I'll get it. But usually things go pretty fast. It's like just putting a little bit of a pause button on it to be like, okay, do I really need it? Or something else that, I think it depends, like, especially if you're into if you're like an affiliate with any of these different programs too, that makes it a little bit easier. I feel like personally too, but there are moments though, even with that, where, you have to kind of say to yourself, like, do I really need it? Like I know some people, especially when I'll post things about like unboxings or like stationery hauls, and I'll get a few comments on YouTube that'll say like, oh, it must be nice to have all this kind of money to like buy this. And, or, what bothers me sometimes when people are like, oh my gosh, I needed this new notebook. Like, I'm not, I'm going to go 1 week without eating so that I can get this. I'm like, no.
None of us
No,
need
like,
Yeah.
it's okay. Like, you do not have to give up nurturing
no.
your body to get this. But the FOMO though does get you though. I mean, I remember, Archer and Olive was always, they've tried to move away from it, I think, but like they were always big on it, where it was like everything sold out in seconds. And so like you had to be there at that time to get it. And I know they've tried to move away from that too, to make sure it doesn't happen, but that definitely happens with a lot of stuff. Pens, especially like you were saying, like, especially if they're like limited edition and stuff like that, you're just like, well, there's only so many of these, so I have to get that.
And I kind of hope they go away from that a little bit, because it's one of those things that, especially in the, like, okay, if a limited edition washi drops and it's $5, you can kind of decide if you can want to spend that $5. But when a limited edition pen drops, a lot of the time it's like $200 to $500, and that's not something you can decide in a week or 2 days if you can do that. Like, I would much rather it be that they make a few more if they can, and everybody gets to like actually take the time and decide or save for it and get the ones they really want. Because like me coming into this late, I feel like some of the ones that I loved, honest to goodness, were all Japan exclusives. Every single one of them. You couldn't find
all the best stuff is.
It is.
But they were all like double the price. And I was actually, Alexandra and I were on the phone the other night having this lengthy conversation. And that's why, like, I have never shared my entire pen collection, because I don't want the comments that are like, oh, like, what did she do? Like, and I had actually been in a different business that I had a ton of leftover stock from. And I sold all of that and decided last year, for me, it was like my 40th birthday gift. It was my like getting back into creativity, back for me, like getting back into who I am, because I lost that for a while. And I was going to take that money and invest it into something else. So did I spend a ridiculous amount of money on some of those pens? Yeah, I did. But you know what? It was, to me, I sold one thing to get the other. So girl math, it was
girl math, 100%.
100%. And then two, so now this year I have to rein that in though. So it hits you a little bit. And it's also that, like, and then you start to think about it a little bit more, because last year I didn't as much, like I did, but I didn't as much. And it's like, now, you have to really, people that really want something. And I don't love that, like, where it's, okay, there's only like this many and it's this much. Or like I was saying earlier, the other colors, like, why is a black one and then a purple one literally hundreds of dollars difference, and they're the same pen on the inside?
Yeah.
And that's not talking about, like, I'm not talking if it's celluloid or if it's like a special resin or any of that. Like, one resin pen that's black, one resin pen that's purple.
Well, one thing that you could consider though is that a lot of times those Vanishing Point limited editions are store limited editions.
Yeah.
So the store actually has to invest in making that pen. Yeah. And so they're going to have to charge more because they're actually paying for the run up front. So if you think about, so that could be one reason.
I mean, like, more, I'm trying to think of one that, like, maybe, I want to say like Sailor's done it, where it's literally just the color. And it's
Yeah,
not
or like of the year, like like whenever they'll do that a lot with like ink of the
or
year,
like,
where you're just like,
yes,
okay.
or look at the one that just dropped, that purple one. Why is a purpley sparkle
Brave
pen
expectations.
yes. Why is it like $500 for that pen?
Right.
Where you can get the black Rialo that Marina just showed for half of that.
Yeah, you can definitely, and then you can thrift it because they made a lot
Makes
of them.
no sense in my head. Like, I get that it's maybe
Right.
sparkly a little bit, but like, is that really double the price worthy? Like, I don't, and I love Sailor. Like, that Sailor's one of my favorite ones. So I'm not like, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Maybe
That's how they get you. So Shannon, you gotta show us the pen because my laptop here is dying. So
I don't.
You better be quick.
I have a pen and I wanted to show Luke's his nib holder. Can you see that anyway?
Ooh.
It's
Very
got like
pretty.
the florals and the feathers and like it's so pretty. That's what I wanted to show.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I ordered it's at the PO box, but he did one for Valentine's Day that was the pinks and the reds, and I jumped on that so fast.
Do you guys want to hear a thrift store story?
Yeah.
Sure.
If you have watched my channel, you've already seen this, but my friend called me and said, hey, there's a bunch of traveler notebook stuff over at the thrift store by your house. And so my daughter and I got in the car and zipped right over there. And I have now purchased probably upwards of 15 leather notebook covers. Like this one's a Chic Sparrow.
Ooh,
Oh
nice.
my God. That's
pretty
awesome.
And they were anywhere from about $3 to $10, depending. And I want you guys to know that of the 18 or so that I've purchased, I've only kept 3 of them.
Oh, wow.
That's
and I've been just selling them for what I paid plus shipping to people who want them. So I need to get them all in the mail. But
really
yeah,
awesome.
it's been
My
a real.
husband brought me charger. So
Oh,
I might
excellent.
surprise us. We'll see.
That's awesome. But I think at Home Goods over by me, they had a bunch of Loystroms. I don't use Loystroms anymore, but they had a ton of them for like $3 and $5. And I just walked. It was I was like, I have to. I need to. They're so cheap. And then I was like, no, you're not going to use them. Like, be smart about it. But when you do find good stuff like that, though, it's really exciting to do that. There was some antique stores up by me that had they were new, but like Kaveco's that. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And this was earlier on. I didn't really know a whole lot about them. And I was like, this is really kind of neat to see like one of these antique stores carrying these. They weren't antique. They literally were just selling extra stuff. But it was still kind of cool to see that out and about as someone who was interested in it, because I don't feel like I'm currently on the search at an antique store for like an old school, like I want one of those like ink holders, like just like kind of like bottled ink holders, like in glass. They probably are gonna like dry out, not be great, but I don't know why. Just that visual of that is something that I really want. But every time I go into an antique store, I'm always like, I'm looking for this. They're like, no, we don't sell anything like that. And I was like, I really, really want one just because.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh,
Like
yes. There you
I just
go.
bought this on eBay.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, because I'm
Nice.
again obsessed with Paris. That
Very
is-
pretty.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to ask you, Mark, how is the return all of paper for fountain pens?
So I was just talking about this the other day. Me and a few other people think that the paper has changed because it's not been as friendly recently. So I would say a few years ago, it was great. I actually have a video over on my YouTube channel where I tried a bunch of pens and inks in it, because people always say it doesn't work, it's horrible, it's not great. I use fountain pens in it every single day for the past few years, and it's certain inks have issues and others don't. But I think that it works really well, especially if you're using like extra fine, medium even is okay, but it really does depend on the ink itself, to be honest with you. So like I don't know if this is a good example or not, but like I just have the Ferris wheel press the jewel here, but like I've been using it in here and it's not bleeding and it's not ghosting. You can't see it through the other side. Like, why I love it. So it really does depend on kind of the pen and the ink. I was mixing pen and ink at the same time. The pen and ink combination, though, because on a medium nib with like glittery, nice royal blue ink, you would think like, it's going to do some funny stuff, but it's actually worked really great. But again, this notebook though is a few years older, and some of the newer notebooks though, I am seeing some issues, but they swear up and down that they didn't change the paper. So I think it kind of depends.
Yeah, I think it's probably pandemic. you know, that lots of formulation has changed just because companies ran out of things. And it's like, because I work with porcelain, I notice difference in my clay, for example.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah, it's
But, like-
unfortunate, but for the most part, it
Yeah.
works out really well.
Even in the watercolor world, like we started to
Yep.
have a difference in paper sizing.
Mhm.
Just
Mm.
and those things don't have to be disclosed by a company.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
That's-
that could be part of the issue as well.
Yeah,
But
but
no
I mean,
feathering, because the feathering I think is what would bother me the most.
I don't have a lot of issue with it. It's actually kind of funny. The last release they did, I think it was the fall release, they released fountain pen inks and a different type of fountain pen, and that ink in the notebook feathered no matter what. I tried it in everything and I was like, this isn't good, guys. Like, this is your ink for your notebook. But it's the same thing with like Baron Fig. They just have their like Squire pens. Their Squire pens bleed through the paper in their Baron Fig notebooks. And they're and I'm just like, this is not okay. Like, the pen you sell should work in the notebook you sell.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing with this. If you're going to dip your toe inside a fountain pen and fountain pen ink, test it, make sure it actually works before you start selling it, because it's the same thing we talked about. If this is your first experience with it and you put it inside of your notebook and it's bleeding and it's feathering and it doesn't look good, that's just not a very good first taste. So like, keep it simple, make sure it works. That's the way I would
and they're
go
probably
about
not
it.
making their own anything, right? So they're hiring out somebody to make their ink and they're hiring out somebody to make their pen, and they just get whatever they get, right?
I don't know how the back end of it works, because I had a lot of, like, they asked me a lot of questions early on. I was lucky where they were like, okay, Mark, we know you use our notebooks, we know you're into fountain pens, like, what are the things that we should be thinking about? And that was like some of the first things I said. Is like, you have to make sure it's good ink, you have to make sure the pens like look nice, and it's worth the money too. I'm having like I was talking about like the Ferris wheel press, because again, like, I'm not buying this pen, but like, I think the jewels are like $180, right? Like retail.
They're almost $300 Canadian.
Yeah, I would not.
And so
It
like,
is-
that's it's not, and I don't want to talk badly about them. I'm just saying though, but like, if I had to pick between this or like, you know, a custom made pen by a maker, like, yes, this is pretty, don't get me wrong, but like, you're kind of going back and forth. And like, I always feel bad because I'm like, would I buy this on my own? Like, I don't know if I would necessarily, but I would buy maybe a different, but it writes really well. I mean, that's just what I'm saying. Like, but now that I've tried it, I've had a chance. If someone's going to spend the extra money on it, I don't think it's a bad option.
No, out of all the pens I've tried from them, it's my favorite. But
Same.
I
hate
would
the
rather
other
buy
carousels.
a vintage Mont Blanc, which I paid less for than what this retails for.
Yeah, but I think for probably the average, and I think for the average person getting into it though, like, this is pretty and sparkly, and the handle is engraved, and you've got a dual tone nib, and I mean, all the things about it are really nice, right? Like, don't get me wrong, but it is one of those things though, because I've been using this in my bullet journal without any issue whatsoever. So I'm happy about that. It's great to know. But a few weeks ago, I was using, I forget what it was, another ink that I had. Hold on, because it's right here. Because I just organized all my inks.
Do I hear a cat?
That's mine, probably.
So like, Private Reserve Cadillac Green. Think it's a really cool thing. Bled right through the paper instantly.
That's pretty Private Reserve bleeds.
Yeah, so but I've had no issue with their other inks though. It's like just certain ones that have an issue. So like, I don't know until I use it. Yeah. So I think that's a big thing. And again, everyday Joe like me, I have no idea how ink is made. I don't know. But like, I know that it probably matters. And if you're going to go and buy a big, huge bottle of it because you thought it was a cool thing, but then you get it and you can't use it, now I have to start making beautiful illustrations like Carola does inside of my notebooks with that ink. Right. My wife just asked the other day, she's like, can I use your ink for like marble dyeing paper? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, because you have so much of it. And I was like, let's try it out. I've got plenty of colors I'll never use. Let's see if it works.
All right, it is 12:30, Mark. So I think you have to.
I do. This was amazing, though. Thank you all. This was like the best, like, having coffee with friends conversation ever.
Yeah, so fun.
Well,
so good to meet
find
you.
that it can be very isolating when we just text each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's nice to be able to talk face to face, and like, you get to meet people you don't always talk to.
Yeah, I have a bunch of new friends. So anyone I'm not following, I will be now. And I actually have some questions for you, Wendy. So about the third party selling, because I have a lot of pens that I've been thinking about potentially
for sure.
offloading some. So I'd love to hear about
message me.
that.
I'd be happy to point you in the right direction.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your afternoon,
Thanks,
everyone. I gotta go.
everybody.
Bye.
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 Are we staying on or are we ending?
Well, we can stay on. I still haven't talked about my pens. And
Oh, yeah, I wanna see your
Shannon
pen.
I want to hear about your pens.
still hasn't explained about my pens because I, don't know about them. Which should I start with, Shannon? Doesn't matter.
Well, no, and when I tell you which one I think, anyways, you pick the other one, so you go for it.
All right. Let's start with the SD because it's pretty, and I think you have it.
I do. I was going to show my lilac one, but then I didn't want you to be in. But mine's silver. You said you wanted gold.
That's right.
But mine's silver.
Nice.
Mine's the punch-in gold.
This is going to
from
be a
Toronto
test
Pen
to
Shop.
see if I have a pen. When you show your pen, if I have one like it in my hand, because I'm in my husband's office, so if I had to have brought it in here. So here's mine. This is the Gold Rush.
Don't show
Streamer
that one.
Purple.
That's like on my I love that pen so much list.
Journaler nib, baby.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is going to get a journaler nib because I bought it in a medium, so that I could get an appointment with Gina at.
She's like on the live yesterday. She's like, Shannon, when did I buy this? And I was like, I was at your house. We were sitting there together. You ordered it.
Brain injuries are fun.
Yeah, it was funny.
But I like that Mom asked to open it first.
Yeah.
I flipped the box around. Mom opened it. Went, oh, you're gonna really like it. And then I opened it.
Well, you ordered it. I hope you would like it.
That one that you have, I have a Franklin Christoph in that same resin.
Ooh.
They call it, Franklin Christoph calls it Pearl Pole.
Ooh.
See, I've never even tried the Franklin one.
Yeah, I don't own one. I've
never even tried it.
I think I've tried one, but I don't own one.
I was thinking this looks
7
like
of them right here.
the same
I was
acrylic
gonna say
as
I have a few too.
Zodiac Pen Co., the Valentine's Day one. It looks very similar.
Very
Yes,
similar
yeah,
to their
yeah.
Valentine's Day this year.
Yeah.
It is very pretty though.
Very
I
pretty.
love it.
It's beautiful.
I was gonna. I had that one out. Remember when I asked you if you? I don't know if you remember or not, but I asked you if that was pink or purple because I had it out to put in my heart picture that I made. Yeah, it was way too purple.
Yeah.
I was like, this.
I don't know. It matches the water bottle that I always call purple.
Yeah.
But like sitting with my purple ink swatches, it looks pink.
Yeah, it kind of just depends on what it's by.
Yeah.
We're just chatting.
And like sitting with my Decimo, it looks pink. And then the other one is the Opus 88 Gourmet Pens.
Nice.
So
Pretty.
cute.
I
I
bought
was
second.
cracking up when you guys were trying to fill that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Hilarious.
Okay. I have never claimed to be an expert. And I think that's what people in the comments don't understand. I have never claimed to be an expert. I know just enough to be dangerous. That is how I operate. I know just enough to be dangerous. And normally before I get a pen, I research how they should be filled. I know all that information, except I didn't know what was in the box. So I couldn't have had that information in my brain ahead of time. And so we were doing that in the moment.
It was awesome.
But
I thought it was so relatable. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
people do really like that part of it. I did have to block one person though, because they were like, you run a pen channel and you don't know how to fill a pen. And I was like, and now you're
bye.
Goodbye, sir.
It doesn't mean we're not learning as we go. Like I've never filled one. I've never filled an eyedropper pen, and I've never I have an Opus 88 that I've set aside because it was like a free pen when I bought so much anyway, and it's not my style. So I figured I would put it in a giveaway or something. But that's when she was asking me about it yesterday. I was like, I haven't even opened that one, and it, like ink dropper, like they freak me out. Like it's not. So I'm just.
I'm going to send you my number, Alexandra, and you can call me anytime.
Okay. Like it's just
you did good.
It's so pretty, and I'm still looking
It's
at
so
the one
cute.
at Gold Spot because I wrote for them again, and so I've got a little bit of credit, which
Nice.
is, making a dent in my Chicago Pen Show list.
Oh my goodness. There's so many things I want from Chicago. Okay, actually maybe there's something after Alexandra's done with, but like, is there something on your guys' wish list that you like really want to get this year, maybe at a show or maybe not, like just anything?
Stylo Suite will be at Chicago.
Well, is that
first
something that
of
you're
all,
talking about in Philly?
all
The
going-
Flex guy. Yeah.
who's all going to Chicago and who's all going to San Francisco?
SF.
Same.
I'm hoping to go to both.
You're not going to either, Wendy?
Oh,
No.
Wendy
I'm
too.
sorry.
No, my only other show is going to be my local Colorado show this year. It's okay.
That's okay.
You guys will have fun for me.
When's your
And you know how to
Colorado
find us.
show?
Yeah. Colorado is in October. It's usually like the second weekend in October.
Mm-hmm.
And you know
Yeah.
who's going to be here this year for Colorado Pen Show?
Kirk.
Annabelle Hiller.
Annabelle, because
Nice.
she's doing Colorado, and then
Yeah.
she's coming to Scriptus.
Nice.
Yes.
Is she coming to Scriptus?
She is coming to
Yeah.
Scriptus.
She did not tell me that. I'm gonna have to talk to her.
Hmm.
That's so exciting.
I think. Okay, one second. I think she's still coming to Scriptus.
Okay, I think she did mention she was thinking about it.
I will say we had a discussion where she said she was planning on coming to Scriptus after Colorado.
I was thinking about coming to Scriptus too.
Come to Scriptus. Scriptus is so I've got a love-hate relationship with Scriptus, but it is a fun show.
Can you?
It's a
convince
one-day
Ellen to
show
come?
though. That's the thing. Like flying all the way across Canada, which is fine. Like I can visit family, but
Yeah.
it's a
It's
one-day
so
show.
far. It's
But,
so
like, stuff
far.
also
Yeah.
starts on the Friday. Like,
Can you convince Helen to come with you? We can all have we can get like an Airbnb in Toronto and just have fun for the weekend.
Oh,
You
that'd
can
be so
rent-
fun.
Shannon, you can rent the Airbnb across the street from my house.
Ooh.
We can do that. See, we can all have fun. I'll bring snacks. I'll pick you guys up at the airport. We can have snacks.
Chocolate.
Yeah, obviously. If I don't eat it first. And you guys all can come. Marina, Wendy.
I know.
That'd be fun.
It's more like for me, like I love
Aziza
the
keeps
shows.
trying to get me to come too, and I'm like,
But yeah, and Aziza,
I
like
can't.
we could have so much fun.
It'd be so much
no.
fun.
I have in my other life, I have a singing job, and so weekends are really hard because I'm committed. So
Could you imagine the chaos though we would create on social media?
it'd be
Yeah.
pretty chaotic.
It'd be fun.
I just
Like how Wendy's like, it would be chaotic, and I'm like, it would be fun.
Yeah. All right, you guys.
I don't know. Like, Carola, I need you to teach me how to be creative. Like I'm staring at your like marker thing in the background. I'm like, I need that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I'm gonna
I
bounce
feel like I
off.
love the shows, but I
Bye.
love time with you guys. Oh, Marina, bye.
Bye.
Love you
Marina.
guys. Thank you for having me and just having this.
Of course. You guys want to see?
Fun.
This is
Bye.
the extent of any artwork that I ever do. See if I can get it to. Hello, 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 hello.
Oh,
Oh,
I love it though.
Oh,
It's just like a
Julia's here.
doodle.
Julia.
Hi, Julia.
hi, Julia.
So my daughter had to have foot surgery this week, and so this is what I was doing in the waiting room to try to chill myself out. Oh, so stressful.
Is everything okay?
It's fine. She just broke her little toe.
Oh.
She caught it on a piece of wood trim kind of running through the house, and it fractured it across the growth plate. And so I took her to the guy who's operated on my foot and my husband's foot, and he was able to do it without putting a pin in it, so they put her under and he just reset it, and it's going to be just fine.
Oh,
Oh, good.
So, but he said, I'm glad you did this because if it had grown out or done, it could have given her problems for her whole life
oh,
because of that growth plate thing. So
that's
I felt like a good mom for a second.
Shannon, were you the one that asked about things we want this year?
Yeah.
I really want one of the new Galen leather expansifolios.
Mm.
They're hard to get right now.
Interesting.
Atlas had them, and now they're sold out in every color but black.
Oh,
Gold Spot doesn't know if they're going to be getting them. I really want one, and I don't want to pay the import fees from FedEx
Does he
on top
normally
of
go to-
duties.
Dang it.
yeah.
You normally go to Chicago?
I don't know. They weren't at Chicago last year.
No. Okay, I wasn't
Interesting.
sure.
Yeah, Galen Leather was at the California Pen Show, and I looked at the fancy folders. I was like, "Ooh," or folios. They looked really good, and there was enough space. Like, I love how you can take out the pen tray or whatever, and
Well,
then
it's
like put
the
in like a
same.
notebook that's going to kind of get chunky.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same 4-card tray as that's in the slip and zip.
Gotcha.
So the issue with ordering from Galen in Turkey, lovely person in the comments, is that I live in Canada, where our duty import is $20 before you start paying fees, and then whatever shipper adds a fee on top. And if it's UPS, it's
like
an
$60.
80 it's now $80. It's an $80 fee on top.
Oh my god.
And I think FedEx is approaching $45 on top of your duties. And so, oh, they live in Canada too. Yeah, I can't with the duties added on top.
Would it be the same for if we shipped it to the PO box?
It depends on what happens in a couple days.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they go to one of the pen shows. Like, it would be nice if he came to Scriptus, or if he goes to SF. Like, I know that's a little ways away, but I'm really hoping I get to go SF. That's my birthday weekend, so I want to do something for that.
So they had to pay $119 in duties and processing fees. I can't do that on a Galen Leather order.
Oh,
I'm not doing that for a single item.
Yeah.
Did you check if Wonder Pens has it? Because they do carry some Galen Leather.
Wonder Pens has it. I
And
checked
they
if
also
Bleskett
sell
had
it.
it.
Yeah.
Bleskett didn't have it. I didn't check
We
Wonder
should
Pens.
try secondhand, maybe. I mean,
They've
riskier.
only
It just came out. Oh, nuts.
They only came out. I think they came out in October or November.
Bummer.
And so,
But they're going to go to the Atlas Sidewalk sale, though, don't they?
They do.
Okay, there you go.
So I just
mean,
have
it's
to
still a ways away, but
it's like August.
yeah.
And that assumes Atlas
Before
has
you know
me
it.
back again this year.
Oh, that's odd. Carol, are you going to any other shows?
I might be able to go to the Portland PNW, so the Portland Pen Show, because that's going to be kind of a road trip for me going down. And then SF. What's that?
Are you in Vancouver?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then SF for sure. I'm probably going to teach my workshop again at SF.
Fun.
That was
Sign
so
me
fun.
up. Sign me up.
Yeah. Come join.
Yeah,
I need somebody to pay for me to go to the shows to teach the nib wipe workshop.
Oh, that'd be so. You should have you
No, I haven't pitched it.
That's what I was trying to go for. Because that's so cute. It was so cute.
It was so fun.
Yeah. I was
in the bar was the most fun.
Pardon?
When we did it in the bar, that was the most fun.
Yeah, I missed that, but Lexi made me one. I was like, this is so cute.
It was so fun.
Yeah. Honestly, the pen, I love the shows for yes, of course, the shopping and the pens and stuff, but I just love hanging out with everyone. It's just so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same. I feel the same, Shannon. It's fun to go and see vendors and talk to makers and, get to see their products and stuff. But for me, it's mostly about meeting people face to face, right? You've talked online or whatever. And then it's oh, you're right. Wendy Sue, right? It's your fountain pen muse or, whatever it is. So
but
it's kind of nice.
I'm glad that we're doing this more often. It feels like that. It honestly just reignites things. And, sometimes, especially with the winter right now, I just feel like I've been, and it's been such a bad winter that everybody's just stuck inside and, you're not getting out and you need to have that interaction and that, because being around people, I love going to the pen show for the weekend because I can go down for a little bit and then I can go back up if I need to just chill for a second and then go back down, that kind of thing. But just seeing the people that love what you love and just, I don't know, it just re-energizes you.
Yeah, and it's kind of fun, like stepping away and being like, let's go play with pens, like let's go play with ink,
Yeah.
right? And just
Yeah.
like kind of moving away from, like Mark was talking, overwhelm, stimulation.
Yes.
And it's kind of nice just stepping away and be like, does anyone want to like play with ink, right?
Yeah. I think the worst is when it's hot, like hot in
Oh
those
God, I
rooms.
can't take that.
Oh, in Philly, like that, I don't know what was going on when we first got in there, but it was.
Oh my God.
So hot.
Well, in that lobby area was like 117 degrees.
Wow.
It was so, and then the classrooms were frigid. I was like,
Oh,
you guys
were they?
have
They didn't go
some
into the
heating
classroom?
problems. Yeah.
But the bathroom was freezing on the same level.
Weird.
I was like, what is going on? Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm interested to see the Chicago setup this year
Yeah.
because it's
I want them
split
to put
onto
the vendor
two.
list.
There's still no vendor list.
No, they said I actually messaged and because I was curious. I was like when? Because I'm like, these shows are all still new to me, right? Like I haven't been to any show twice, and I won't be until maybe Orlando. Like if I end up getting to go to Orlando, but so I didn't know, and they said they're hoping I think the beginning of March, but who knows? And if it changes,
that isn't very far away.
No, exactly.
They're
I'm hoping that they actually do, but some of them, like Philly, I don't think they had it up until almost right before. Didn't they? I don't remember. Or maybe it was the map that wasn't up before.
I think it was the map. Like normally, like the Scriptus map last year or this year came up, I want to say like the Saturday morning.
I don't remember. Yeah. I don't know.
So.
But SF, they have some of the vendors up already, and I'm so Hachimanji is supposed to be there, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, I saw Glass Studios are going to be there. There's like
Hanabi.
I think. Like sign me up for glass pens.
Oh my God, I actually ended up getting a couple of theirs, but there's like every time they show a new pen, I seriously could have like 20 of theirs. Like they're so incredibly beautiful. They're doing the fox one with the sakura flowers on it from Manila. And I'm like, do I know anyone in Manila? Like anybody? I need this pen. But
well, anybody else have anything pressing they need to say?
I got an exciting vintage pen. Do you guys want to see it?
Yeah.
Let's end with that. Vintage is always fun.
Does anybody guess what this is?
It looks like a pilot.
It is. It's the Mew.
Oh.
I did it. There we go. Can you see that? So it's stainless steel, and then the nib unit is all built in there.
Wow.
It was hard because it had never been inked. It's from 1976. And so I was like, do I ink it? And Aziza was like, yes, you ink it.
Yes, you ink it.
That's the whole point. And so I inked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, it still has its little sticker on it for 3,500 yen.
I have like I think that is the most named Grail pen in 20 questions. I'd never seen it before. I had to link it for, I think it was a Chicago Pen Show episode. And I've since linked it, I think, in 4 or 5 episodes.
Yeah. And mine's a medium. Most of them are fine, and mine's a medium. And I got it for about half what they usually go for.
I don't even know what they go for.
Well, I mean, you know, sometimes depends on 400. It depends.
Yeah.
But I got it on eBay from a guy that I buy stuff from occasionally. And I just got lucky.
No, that's good. That's awesome.
Nice.
Wow. That's a pretty good way to end this stream. And I think you're probably going to have to make a video on it because
I will.
People like that pen.
People like the Mew, that's for sure.
It's fun. I haven't tried one. Like I haven't actually seen one, I don't think, in person. So you have to.
I've never seen one in person.
No,
I've just talked about it in a bunch of 20 questions episodes.
Okay. Now I have to look into it a bit. That's fun. Yeah. You didn't say anything you were looking for, Carola?
I just have a bunch of makers that I want to check out. I have a bunch of maker pens on my wish list. Nice. You know, and like, yeah, every time I go to a pen show, I have a few that I want to talk to and support, and then I add a few more for the next Ben show. So
I think
it's kind of like
every time I meet somebody, I'm like, like,
yeah,
like
exactly.
shows are great, but they're also bad for my wallet.
Yeah. But if I budget it per year, then it's fine.
Yeah, no, I still got nothing.
I just sort of
need
like
5 jobs.
I roll YouTube AdSense. Like as we come up to a show, like whatever I've made in YouTube AdSense for like the 3 or 4 months
Gotcha.
leading up to a show, that is now my show budget.
Nice.
That's the way to do it.
I'm not
Way to
there
go.
yet. You guys, I just crossed 800 subscribers on YouTube. I feel like a big deal.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yay.
These first, I think what I've heard is the first 1,000 are really kind of hard.
Yeah.
And then it gets a little easier.
Yeah. And when you get your first 1,000, you get a pen.
Yeah.
And when you get to 5,000, you get 2 pens and you don't remember them.
I know. I'm going to actually do a giveaway when I get to 1,000.
Yay.
I have some stuff kind of collecting for that.
That's kind of
Wow.
that's what I said I did with the Opus 88. I've just put it away and I'll do a giveaway with it at some point because it's just
Yeah.
not because I like it's beautiful, like it's cute and everything, but it's just not my style. And I figure that somebody
Right.
will love it and deserve to have it, and that's kind of for me that works.
This is another crazy banana pants thing that happened. This is an Opus 88, obviously. It's the demonstrator. It has a Pilot number 10 FA nib in it.
Okay.
That was then modified by Gina into a Spencerian.
Wow. Nice.
So, and it has an ebonite feed. So this setup is very pricey, but it is. I'm going to do a video, a little flexploration about this coming up pretty soon.
You really do like to tinker.
Yeah,
All right.
it's a whole thing.
That's
Wow.
I don't know. I'm still scared of that.
I know, and that's okay. You don't have to do it. I mean, that's the thing is that, if you need support, I'm here to support you if you ever want to. And if you don't want to, you don't have to.
But even like I thought I think like sailor nibs weren't able to come out, and then wasn't it you, Alexandra, that like just took yours out and moved them around?
No, I've acquired a music nib. I haven't moved them around yet, but I have acquired a music nib.
I could have swore that you did it with yours and your mom's or something that you were going to, or you were going to. When you
No, Mom doesn't have a sailor. Mom doesn't
No.
have a sailor. I've moved other stuff around, but not my sailor nibs. Because
Yeah.
currently
I usually get housings and stuff from Flexible Knit Factory so that I can put them into Yovo
Oh, okay.
pens or Bach pens. And so, but I've done stuff like that you're not supposed to do. Like I swapped out the nib in my 823 because it was fine and I didn't love it. And so I took the nib out of my 743 and put it. So I have a clear 823 with a soft medium nib, which they don't even sell.
Wow.
If you can do that, that's so fun. Like, I mean, maybe not great for the warranty, but I don't know how that works. But
Right.
if you know what you're doing and you can tinker with them, and I mean,
Yeah.
you have Kirk down the street if you really mess it up.
That's right. That's right. One time I dropped, during the Colorado Pen Show last year, I dropped a brand new pen nib down on the hardwood floor. And I texted him and was like, oh my gosh, can you help me? And so he put me on his schedule for that day. I was like, I know it's cheating that I'm texting you, but can you please fix this?
Oh, wow.
He did. He fixed it.
I would have just went over to the table in a panic.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, with that dramatic story, I think that's where we end this.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you for joining
Love
us.
your faces.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. This was so fun.
Having me. It was so fun.
There will be another one of these with some group of guests April 5th. Do I have the group of guests finalized yet? No, but it should be fun. Who knows?
Well, anytime you need someone,
Yeah,
You know, I'm a tremendous seat
I
filler.
think she's sick of me now.
Good to know. Well,
Yeah.
it was lovely to talk to the 3 of you plus the other 2.
That's right.
And
We're going to go ride bikes now because it's almost 70 degrees here today.
it's
Oh.
snowing here again.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
this year.
People think that Colorado is like the Great White North, and it is not.
No.
Yeah.
And even technically we're not like the Great White. Like it gets worse.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not that north.
Right?
Right.
It's
My
just
friend was like, well, didn't you plug in your car? And I was like, we don't have those. But she is in Alberta and you have to plug in the car because it gets so cold there. So
yeah. we couldn't start the truck a couple weeks ago.
Didn't I tell you I needed a new battery like the day after I got home from your house? I think it was, or something. It was close to, or no, after Philly. I had to get my battery like died because it was so cold outside and I didn't go out for like a couple days or something.
Yeah, winter's awful. All right, lovely to talk to you all.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Have a great rest.